Blog Talk Radio.
Stevie B's Media Production is a part of the Shellcaster Network.
The proclamation of the gospel of Jesus Christ by members of the Churches of Christ. With your host, Stevie R. Butler. You're listening to What a Word from the Lord radio show.
You are my protector, and you are my provider, and my deliverer. There's no other help I know. You are my protector, and you are my provider, and my deliverer. There's no other help I know. I really love the
You're listening to What a Word from the Lord radio show.
Good evening, wherever you're in the world listening to this radio broadcast. Stevie B's Media Production presents What a Word from the Lord radio show. I'm your host, Stevie R. Butler. This radio show is being broadcast from Stevie B Media Production at the Carolina studio in the great state of North Carolina. Ladies and gentlemen, we are just grateful for the privilege to bring you a program where we as Christians and members of the Churches of Christ can share our faith and preach and teach the glorious gospel of Jesus Christ on a weekly basis. If you'd like to contact us while we're on the air this evening, just give me a call to the live show at 713-955-0508. If you have any questions or comments for any of my co-hosts or special guests on this radio show, you can send your emails to my new email address, butlersteve1009@yahoo.com. Or you can call me at Stevie B's Media Production at the Carolina Studio at 910-491-6405. Now, again, this program is brought to you by members of the Churches of Christ. And if you need any assistance in locating a congregation in your area, please feel free to contact us. Now, folks, on tonight's broadcast, we have a special edition every fourth Tuesday of the month. My co-host, Kelli Fletcher, she serves with the Livingstone Church of Christ there in Indianapolis, Indiana. And you're really going to enjoy what you're hearing from her program. Kelli, take it away.
This is Terry Jackson, and you're listening to A Talk with My Sisters on What a Word from the Lord radio show.
Good evening, everyone. This is Kelli, and you are listening to The Kelli Fletcher Show on Stevie B Media Productions, What a Word from the Lord radio show. I am your co-host, and I attend, as Brother Stevie said, a Livingstone Church of Christ in Indianapolis, Indiana. Should you have any questions during tonight's show, please feel free to send an email to butlersteve1009@yahoo.com. So tonight's topic is another good one. It's on understanding Medicare, and I hope the information that my guests share this evening will be very helpful to you. I know I am slowly getting to that age, so it's going to be very beneficial for me as well. But my special guest for tonight is Vonda Granger from Kingley, Terrace Church of Christ here in Indianapolis, Indiana, and Dr. Michael French, who is also here in Indianapolis, Indiana. Thank you both so much for participating tonight. I really appreciate it. Before we get started, can you please introduce yourself and share a little bit about your background? Vonda, if you want to go first.
Sure. Thank you so much, Kelli. And I have to say, Dr. French and I, thank you for having me. Can you hear me?
Vonda? Yeah,
yes.
I can hear you now.
Okay. Sorry about that. I was talking, and I guess I was muted. Thank you so much, Kelli. I know Dr. French and I are so very excited and happy that you invited us on the show just to bring a little clarity about Medicare. Just a little bit about myself. As she said, my name is Vonda Granger, and I do live here in Indianapolis, Indiana. And my background is actually occupational therapy. I've been a therapist for over 30 years. It sounds crazy to say that, but over 30 years. And I actually do still treat patients here and there. But I actually stepped into the Medicare world. Now, let me back up a little bit. I went to school at IUPUI here in Indianapolis, Indiana, and got my undergraduate degree in occupational therapy. And then I got my graduate degree at the University of Indianapolis. And I've just practiced in many areas, but I've really focused on seniors. So it's just a special area for me. 2020 rolled around, and I got my license, my accident, life and health insurance license for the state of Indiana, and I became an independent insurance broker. Started out with Dr. French and I both joined one Indiana financial group, and we combined our clinical experience with the ability for protection, an area that is kind of overlooked, but we were able to and still do help people with retirement planning, asset protection, long-term care planning. But our main focus is Medicare. So we've moved over into that space, and we both assist people with original Medicare, Medicare Advantage, supplement plans, prescription plans, final expense, any protections. So that's where we're at right now. That's where I'm at right now, Kelli.
Okay. Nice. Thank you. That's good information to know. Dr. French, can you please introduce yourself?
Yes. Hello, Kelli, and hello, you all that are listening. Thank you for the opportunity to share with the listening audience today. I grew up in Indianapolis, Indiana, went to Indiana University for undergraduate work, went to Indiana University School of Medicine practiced neurology for almost 20 years in Indianapolis. Retired from clinical practice and transitioned to the world of financial matters. I tell clients today, I used to be concerned about your physical health. Now I'm looking at your financial health, but there are times in life where they overlap, and both of them are important. Was licensed accident, life, health insurance in 2015, and have been working in the insurance arena since that time. But as Vonda said, 2021 came, and it was just a good time to look at this issue of Medicare, educating clients on the different aspects of Medicare and helping people plan as they reach that magic age. And so it's been a wonderful opportunity to share with people, and we look forward to doing that throughout working together as colleagues.
Well, we definitely have a couple of experts on the phone. So, again, I appreciate the information that you guys are going to share tonight. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Vonda, let's start with you. And what I would like to find out first is what is Medicare and what is the age of eligibility for Medicare?
Okay, that's a great question. Medicare is actually a federally ran program, and it offers health insurance to American citizens or eligible individuals. And when I say eligible individuals, U.S. citizens are legal residents. So you have to be a legal resident. You must have, lived in the United States for at least 5 years in a row, including the 5 years before applying for Medicare. So as long as you're a United States citizen or eligible legal resident, and it is for people age 65, but there are some reasons that you can get Medicare before 65 if you're younger. For instance, if you are younger than 65 and you have a qualifying disability, and when I say qualifying disability, a diagnosis of end-stage renal disease or ALS, which is also known as Lou Gehrig's disease, if you have those things, you can get on Medicare before the age of 65. So it's a federally ran insurance program.
Okay. And when you reach 65, is it an automatic enrollment once that age is reached?
It depends. If an individual is actually taking their Social Security or they worked for the railroad and they're taking their benefits from the railroad retirement, because a lot of people take their retirement or their Social Security before 65. If an individual is doing that, then they will automatically be enrolled in Part A. So they should get that red, white, and blue card in the mail. If they don't, then, of course, you just have to follow up with the Social Security Department. But if you're not taking then you will not automatically get that card, and you'll have to make that call.
Okay. Thank you for that. Michael, what are some basic need-to-knows for those that are approaching or that are at the age of eligibility?
One of the things I like to talk about is the ABCD of Medicare. The A, the B, the C, and the D. The A stands for the Part A is part of original Medicare, which is Part A and B. And Part A pays for hospitalization. It does pay for some skilled nursing care coverage. Part B is the coverage for medical doctor costs, outpatient care, occupational therapy, OT, PT, physical therapy, speech therapy is covered under the Part B as well. Part C we call Medicare Advantage plans, but also there are Medicare supplement plans, and Part D is prescription drug plans. And so clients often ask us about that. Can I have original Medicare and not Medicare Advantage or Medicare supplement plans? It's possible. but what we try to do is match what the individual needs with the resources that are available.
Okay. And Vonda, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah.
I think Michael covered pretty good.
Yeah, he did. He definitely covered very, very well. Just some other things that I like to tell people they need to know is when someone is turning 65, they actually have this time period. A lot of people aren't aware. It's not just the month that you turn 65. It's 3 months before and 3 months after. That is the period that you can actually enroll. They call that your initial enrollment period, or your IEP. So if you are turning 65, we like to talk to people. And Michael, Dr. French and I are both local independent reps, so we don't work for any agency. We work for ourselves. We work for our clients. So we sign people up for any plan, Humana, Anthem. It doesn't matter. We are not working for carriers. We work for the individuals. But in that initial enrollment period, 3 months before their birthday, we like to talk to people because we like to get you prepared and start looking at your options, so you start really understanding those things. So it's really good to talk to a local agent about those things at that time. And I will say also a couple other things. Medicare is not free. Now, there are some premiums that are zero premiums, but Medicare is not free. There are deductibles. There are premiums. There are co-pays, co-insurances. You just have to understand those things. And I like to say Medicare is like a piece of Swiss cheese, if you will. There's a lot of holes in Medicare. So what Dr. French and I try to do is help you understand those holes and fill those holes so that you don't have those gaps. So there's a few things to understand.
Okay. Can you briefly tell us what one of those holes is?
I can. Original, Dr. French was talking about original Medicare. If an individual is on original Medicare, and I'll have to say this, you're either on original Medicare or you're on an Advantage plan. They are two separate things. You can't be on both. Original Medicare is when you have that red, white, and blue card, and that is the card that you use when you go to your doctor's appointment. You show them that card. With that card, you can actually, as Dr. French said, there's Part A that pays for the hospitalization. Part B covers any outpatient services or labs. But what people don't understand is that with that Part B, A is taken care of. The hospital is paid. But the B, that really pays about 80% of the bill. And I always tell people, it's really okay if your bill is $100 because you can afford to pay $20. However, if you have a hospitalization costs that are $500,000, well, now 20% is a different story. So what people typically do is if they have original Medicare, they will get what Dr. French stated as a supplement. And a supplement has a monthly premium there, and it depends on the one you get. So with that monthly premium, now you are better covered. So that's one thing that is a hole. So you've got to cover that, or most people want to cover that 20%. It does not come automatically with a drug plan. You have to add a drug plan. It does not come with dental or vision. You have to add those things. It does not come with final expense. You have to add those things. So those are a few of the holes.
Okay. Good information. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I said if that makes sense. If that makes sense to you, did that kind of clarify that question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Dr. French, how can our listeners know if they are eligible for programs that lower Medicare costs?
One of the important bits of information to tell our listening audience is it's good to have a local agent who can really go and look in your county where you live and see what current plans are available. People don't realize, for example, that Medicare Advantage plans can vary within a state from county to county, not just from state to state. So when Jimmy J.J. Walker gets on television and says, just call in and give us your zip code, and we can tell you what benefits you can receive, that's really misleading because we really need more information than that. We need to know what county you live in, if you have a certain primary care physician that you want to continue to see. We actually go online and we look that physician up and find out if that physician is in network with a certain coverage. If you say there's a certain hospital I have gone to for the last 20 years and I want to be able to go to that same hospital, we verify that before we make any recommendations. If you say I'm on a certain prescription and it's $1,000 a month, and I need to know if I sign up, if you sign me up to a certain program, I need to know that policy will cover my prescription. Well, that person that is on the national television commercial is not going to take the time to go through those specific details. And so what happens sometimes is people are signed up for a policy that they can't even use it. They get to the doctor's office, and the doctor's office says, we're not in that network. We don't even accept that insurance. And then the person is left trying to figure out, what do I do now? And so it's very important to have someone who is local to you, someone who is really going to take the time and go through what your needs are and try to match your needs with those resources that are available.
Okay. Thank you for that. Vonda, did you have anything additional to add, or?
No, I think he did a great job with with that. Yeah, and they can always go to Medicare.gov too and look up information to get if they want to read more about Medicare, or Social Security gov/Medicare. Those are good websites to go to. But I think he made a great point that you really do need to find a local rep a local agent that you can trust, because they will walk through, hold your hand and walk through you and be with you throughout the year.
Okay. Thank you both so much for that information. I want to go back real quick, and I may have missed the answer, Dr. French, but you were talking about parts A, B, C, and D. And
right.
I'm curious, is it necessary to enroll in all the parts? And when is it necessary? I know that there are other parts like I think there's like G on down the alphabet, but I'm not sure how important those parts are in comparison to A, B, C, and D.
Oh, that's the Medicare supplements plans. It's almost like another alphabet soup. They start with A and go all the way out to N, and there's a F and there's a C. There are two plans, C and F, that are only for people who were eligible prior to 2020. So someone who turned 65 this year wouldn't even be eligible to receive those two Medicare supplement plans. So it's really, and the plans, they're great, but the more benefits they offer, the higher the premium. There are Medicare supplement plans where people are paying over $300 a month premium every month for the Medicare premium, whereas a Medicare Advantage plan, there is a plan that has a zero premium per month. So you might ask the question, why would anybody pay $300 a month for a Medicare supplement when they could have a Medicare Advantage HMO or PPO for zero premium? Well, there are more details to that story because with that Med Sub plan, it offers the flexibility of going to any physician who accepts Medicare, and it's not limited to a certain region or county or state. The snowbird person who says, I live in Michigan, 6 months of the year, and I live in Florida or Texas 6 months of the year, they can, with their med sub plan, see physicians in both states. Or I have grandchildren that live in California, and if I get sick in California, I want the flexibility to be able to see a physician out there if I need to do so. So Medicare supplements, yes, they are more expensive, but they may offer more options. A Medicare Advantage plan, HMO, has a network, so the primary care physician is the gatekeeper. That person is the primary care doctor that the patient is assigned to. That doctor then selects the specialist. If a person needs to see a heart specialist or orthopedic surgeon, with that HMO, that doctor needs to be in the same network. Well, the person with the med sub plan says, well, I have one of my doctors at the county hospital, another of my specialists is at a specialty hospital across town, and my other doctor is in another system, might be even out of town in another state. I don't want to be confined to a network, restricted to a certain network. Yeah, the zero premium sounds good, but when I need to see the doctors that I'm already working with, I want to be able to travel to see my doctor when I need to see them. And so with that flexibility may come an increase in cost. The other thing with med sub plans, there's no prescription drug coverage. So that person has Part A, they have Part B, now they have a med sub plan and Part D for their prescription drugs. The Medicare Advantage plan, the HMO or the PPO, usually the prescription drugs were included in the plan. So again, this is why it really helps to have a local licensed professional who's patient enough and kind enough to say, let's sit down and walk through what you have going on, and let's make sure we match your needs with what's available.
And from the sounds of it, I know Vonda, but it sounds like both of you are patient and kind enough to sit down with people. So before this show is over, we're going to make sure we get your information out there.
That sounds great. I think we both have a passion just because we are, healthcare professionals. That's what we went to school for, and, just have a real passion to helping people. And I know that people are very confused. So it's very satisfying to be able to be that person. And we understand healthcare, you know what I mean? So it's very to be able to sit down with our clients, and we know where they're coming from, and we are pretty patient.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, it's been quite a bit of information so far, really good information. But what we're going to do is, before we get into the next question, we're going to go ahead and take a break. And once we come back from the break, we'll just dive right back into the questions. So I'll turn it over to Stevie B for now.
Nothing is moving, ain't nothing inside. But God is busy with his master plan, getting ready to put it down, y'all, all over this land. The mercy and no surprise is what God saw through his own eyes. Heaven and earth is dark and night, separated land from waters and said it's all right. But the sun and the moon right up in the sky, creatures walking on land and flying, fly. God made the day, got 2 more days before he rests. In his own image, God made man after his likeness, another part of his plan. the Father and cleave to wine. Bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. Everything's good now, God can rest. Creation of God, a masterpiece. Beginning of life by the Trinity. God's creation, no evolution. I am the clay, and the potter made me this way. God's creation, no substitution. It's understood, 'cause the Lord said it was good, yeah.
Hey sis, this is Genesis Archer, and you're listening to A Talk with My Sister on What a Word from the Lord radio show. Peace and love.
Thank you so much for coming back and joining us. You're listening to Understanding Medicare with my two guests, Vonda Granger and Dr. Michael French. Again, thank you both so much for participating this evening. One question that I did have, what are the most common concerns that you hear from people about Medicare? And Vonda, if you want to answer that.
The most common, there's so many. I think just being overall confused about all the options. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because sometimes people will want to get in a plan and they'll say, well, I want to get in the plan that Mark Jones has, my friend Mark Jones, who lives down the street. I want to get in the plan that he has because he's got a really good plan, and he said that he's paying this, that, and the other. I think the problem with that is you don't know what Mark Jones' situation is, and it's very individual because that plan, that carrier can be great for Mark Jones, but your situation may be different. Mark may not see many physicians and specialists. You may. He may be on a lot of drugs or not on many drugs, and you may have a different situation. So as Dr. French said, the plans are you have to know the plans so that you can pick which one suits you. So you just don't know Mike Jones' situation. That's why it's important to sit down and let's talk about your situation. What doctors do you see? Who's your primary care doctor? What specialists do you have? What specific medications are you on? And what do you want from a healthcare plan? Because Mike Jones may want a couple of different things and that you don't even care about. And by doing that, we know that piece of information and we know where you live. Then our job is to bring all that information into the system and pull out which carriers and which plans will work for you. And then we don't put all of them in front of you because it would be too confusing. We'll narrow those down to maybe the top 3 and then bring those back to you and say, based on your situation, the doctors you see, your medications, what you told me was important to you in your health care plan, here's the best options and why. And it's up to you. You choose those plans, but, you can only make a good decision if you have good information. You know what I mean?
Right. And Dr. French, what about – oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go right ahead. You right ahead.
No, I was just going to ask Dr. French, what are some concerns that you hear about Medicare? And I'm sure it may be similar or different.
Yes. I recently gave a talk to a group of persons, and one lady walked up and said, currently I'm working for the city of Indianapolis. I have a group health insurance coverage, but I'm going to be turning 65. Do I have to take a Medicare health plan, or can I continue to be covered by my employer? And I said, thank you for asking, because a lot of people don't know the answer to that. As long as a person has, we call it credible coverage. That means that Medicare will look at that coverage that person has. They are not required to take a Medicare plan when they turn 65. There are people that work a year. They're 66. They work 2 years. They're 67. And they don't take Medicare because they're still working. Now, the day they retire or they stop working and they lose their credible coverage, Medicare gives them 63 days to make a decision in terms of how are they going to be covered, because Medicare waived that requirement when they were 65, but Medicare is watching. And so if that 63-day period passes, they may then enroll in a Medicare plan, but here's the problem. They will incur a 10% penalty in terms of the fee or the premium for the rest of their lives.
Oh, no.
So what they don't know will hurt them. So this is, again, another reason why people need accurate information when they're making these decisions. Another one is the spouse. I had a gentleman that said, I'm working now. I'm 65. I can go off my job. I can retire from my job, my employer, and I can switch over to a Medicare plan. But my wife is on a pain medication because she has a chronic disease. My health insurance through my company covers her, and it covers me. And so I'm going to continue on my plan, and I'm going to work another year so that my wife is covered. Because when we looked at prescription drug plans for his wife, pain medication is a complicated issue. There are certain plans that cover the cost 100%, but there are tiers that we look at, tier 1 through tier 5. There are specialty drugs. And again, this is where we take the time to really go through line by line. Can you imagine one client says, I'm taking one medicine. Well, that was fairly easy to look up on the formularies of, let's say, 3 different healthcare carriers. But suppose that person says, I'm on 15 medicines. We have to go through line by line, medicine by medicine. How do you take it? Is it once a day or twice a day? Is it a tablet? Is it a pill? Is it cream? Is it a lotion? How often do you get it filled? And then if it's insulin, what type of insulin? How many units a day do you take? Well, I take 2 different kind of units of insulin. I take 30 units of one. I take 40 units of another. So, again, we go through each of those to look at the costs before making a recommendation. So the confusion comes from what people don't know. I have hearing aids, and I'm going to need to have replacement hearing aids. Can you help me with a certain plan? There are certain Medicare Advantage plans that offer $1,000, some cases $1,500 of coverage for hearing aids. And for that particular person, we can look at the plans that cover that area, that aspect, and for that particular person, that means the most to them. That's what I'm really concerned about. You're helping me with the issue that's specific to me. For somebody else, it's over-the-counter benefits. For somebody else, it's transportation. Do you know this Medicare Advantage plan will offer you 100 one-way trips per year for one-way trips for transportation to your doctor's office, and then if you go a round trip, it'll be 50 per year. My insurance will pay for me to go see my doctor? Well, tell me more about that. So, again, it's what people don't know that they need to know.
Right. That's good information. It's definitely important because I saw this book that my mom got in the mail, and it was a really thick book, and I'm like, do they really expect people to read through all this information?
Right,
and so having someone to sit down and talk to and ask questions, that is definitely the way to go instead of trying to read that big book and try to understand what you need.
Absolutely.
Okay, so are there any other, Dr. French talked about penalties if you don't enroll in Medicare, say at 65, but you wait. Are there any other disadvantages to enrolling in Medicare or to being in Medicare?
I wouldn't say there are disadvantages. I would say the disadvantages are not doing it because, if you're no longer under your employer's insurance, you're going to have some kind of insurance. So Medicare is there. It's just about knowing the options. The disadvantage is when you don't do those things in the time that you should do them. Like Dr. French said, the 10% penalty. I had a lady yesterday doing a group, and she did not enroll in Part B. She has Part A, which covers the hospital, and she does not have the Part B. And she's in her late 70s, and she retired in her 65 or so. So she hasn't had Part B for several years, and the reason she didn't take Part B was because she said that I'm fairly healthy. I don't really go to the doctor a lot, so I thought I could save that premium because Part B has a premium that everybody pays. It's $170.10 this year, and it goes up every year. These prices go up every year with everything, but you pay that every month. And so she didn't want to pay the Part B, so she said, I'm healthy, I'm not going to get B. And she said, I saved myself by not doing that over, $24,000. And my question to her was, and it's definitely a person's choice, but though you may not be needing a doctor or you're pretty healthy, you never know what life holds. So if something happens where she has to have outpatient surgery, or she does have to start seeing some, get some lab works and things of that nature, need therapy besides what you get from the hospital, then all of that is on her. She has to pay for that. And when she said that she saved $24,000 by not paying for the premium, my question to her was, well, did you save it? Do you have that $24,000 somewhere so that you can lay your hands on it if something happens? Or did you just save it from at that time in little increments and use it for something else? And she I saw the wheels turning, and I said, if something happens, you have to pay that. She didn't realize that she would have to pay all of that herself because she didn't have the Part B. And on top of that, like Dr. French said, there's a 10% premium that she's now going to have to pay, and she's going to have to multiply that for every year that she didn't enroll when she should have. So if she didn't enroll for 10 years, then it's 10% times 10 for the rest of her life. So those type of things hurt you if you don't know, and that's why we love to talk to people, even 3 months before you turn 65. There's a lot to go through, and there's no need to know all of it. You don't. That's why you have us walking with you and helping you understand what you need to know. We just don't want people to hit those penalties if you don't have to.
Right. Dr. French, I had seen an article, and I didn't dive into it, but it said that there may be some problems in the future with Medicare. If that's so, or if you are you aware of anything like that, or had you heard anything like that, and can you elaborate if so?
Well, it's really important to look at it, I believe, as a benefit from our federal government. Medicare was established in 1965, and thank God for Medicare, because if there ever came a time where Congress, Senate, House of Representatives start saying Medicare costs are too high and we're going to start cutting back on benefits, guess who that's going to affect? The people who need health coverage the most. When we become older, we become, in most cases, in need of hospitalization, of therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy. God forbid, if we got cancer, we need chemotherapy. if a person says, I'm going to have original Medicare A and B, or original Medicare A, and I don't want B, well, okay, now comes that chemotherapy bill, which could be $100,000, $200,000, and you're expected to pay 20%. So you pay a fifth of $100,000. You're talking $20,000 cash. Who has that laying around just in case, or even higher, God forbid? Because the numbers get crazy when you go up to over $200,000 to $300,000, which is one of the reasons why medical bankruptcy became a problem across the country, because people were put in positions where hospitals and clinics and doctors were saying, yeah, you were sick, but we took really good care of you. Now we expect to be paid. And they come after people. And so one of the ways to try to escape that heavy cost or burden is through bankruptcy. But the other thing that people need to remember is hopefully the government will not make cuts in Medicaid either. We haven't even talked about what's called dual eligible plans. It is possible for people to be covered by both Medicare and Medicaid. And one of the benefits of us working with clients is we can go online and look up and see, are they eligible to receive Medicaid, and under what circumstances, what their income is and their family, and we can help people to enroll in dual eligible plans. There's another plan called CSNP. It's chronic conditions like diabetes, congestive heart failure, heart disease. We can help people with those kinds of plans. Another one is called MA plans, Medicare Advantage only. The veteran who says, you know what, I go to the VA, I get all my medical care at the VA, my prescriptions are covered at the VA, but what if I want to go see a private physician that's not affiliated with the VA? There is a Medicare Advantage plan designed for those persons where they can have both. They can continue to use their veterans benefits for the prescription drugs, and then they can go outside the VA to go see a civilian specialist for a second opinion. So we can help people in a lot of ways. We just need the opportunity.
Right. Okay. Like I said, I know we're getting close to the end of time, the end of the show, but we're definitely going to get you guys' contact information out there for everyone. So hopefully you'll be getting some calls. But before we do go, one other question that I have is any last minute advice or thoughts that you can share with our listening audience about Medicare? And Vonda, we'll start with you, and then Dr. French, we'll go to you.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of just reiterating. I think we've hit the main point, is that talk to somebody local. Find somebody who you can trust, who you feels has your best interest at heart, because it's just important for us to know you and, what's going on with you and what are you looking for, so we can match what's out there, because there are so many things. Every carrier, major carrier, Anthem, United, Aetna, WellCare, all of them, those are carriers, and all the carriers have many, many plans. So it's a barrage of information. So find someone who you can talk to that can sit down and look at your particular situation and really help you assess what is an option for you, because you don't really need to look at everything out there and be confused. You just need to know what's good for you. What are your options? Right.
Okay, thank you. And Dr. French, any last thoughts?
Yes. There is a time during the year called the annual enrollment period. It begins October 15th and goes through December 7th. And some people have the understanding that that's the only time that they can enroll in Medicare. For that person who turns 65 next month or in August, that's their initial enrollment period. And as Vonda said earlier, it actually begins 3 months prior to their 65th birthday It goes through that month of their 65th birthday, and it goes 3 months afterwards. So they have a 7-month window of time that they can enroll in Medicare. Also, the person that moves, if you live in Indiana and you move to Missouri or Colorado or New York State or Washington State, that's a special enrollment period for you just because you moved, and you can change Medicare plans for that reason. If you're in a Medicare plan today and you're really not happy with it, you can go online to Medicare.gov, and there are what's called star ratings. If there is a 5-star rating plan in your area where you live, you can actually enroll in that plan and move from where you are to that 5-star plan without having to wait until October 15th. So, again, we can really help you if we are able to reach you.
Okay, thank you both so much. And Dr. French, do you mind giving us your contact information, just in case someone is interested in sitting down with you guys?
Sure. My mobile number is 317-418-1578. That's 317-418-1578. My email is mfrench@ONEIndianafinancial.com. mfrench@ONEIndianafinancial.com.
Okay, thank you. And Vonda, may we have your contact information?
Yes, my name is Vonda. V is in Victory, O-N-D-A. My last name is Granger, Granger. And my cell number is 317-758-1991. Again, that's 317-758-1991. And my email, it's a little long, but it's Vonda, my first name, at Granger, my last name. The word rethink, R-E-T-H-I-N-G, and then the word insurance.com. So Vonda at Granger, rethink insurance.com.
Okay. So, and I just want to make sure I wrote it right. Vonda at Granger, rethink, R-E-T-H-I-N-K.
Yes.
Insurance.com. Okay.
Right.
All right. So thank you both so much. Again, I really appreciate you being on tonight and sharing the information. I know it's helpful for me, and I'm sure it's helpful for those who are listening. I always thankful to our Heavenly Father for allowing this platform so that others can share their knowledge with us. Should you have any questions or comments for our guests after the show, please feel free to contact me on Facebook Messenger or send an email to atalkwmsisters@gmail.com. Again, you can contact me on Facebook Messenger or send an email to atalkwmsisters@gmail.com. I'll be sure to forward your questions and or comments to our guests. And just to give you their contact information again, Mr. French, his cell number is 317-418-1578. His email address is mfrench@1 WON or W or I'm sorry, I can't even talk. mfrench@1 ONE IndianaFinancial.com, or you can contact Vonda Granger at 317-758-1991, or you can email her at Vonda@GrangerRethinkInsurance.com. So I thank you guys so much for being on the show. I thank you to our listeners, and I thank Brother Stevie B for this platform. Go ahead and turn it over to him.
God's hand is amazing. Wipe your weeping eyes. God's hand, so amazing. Only He can. Only He can. Oh, God's hand is amazing. Heal your body. Make you whole again. God's hand, so amazing. God can. Only He can. Oh, God's hand gave life to this world, situated the heavens, handcrafted the earth, and no storms that's in your life. He can come. He'll make everything right. Ease your mind. Turn your darkness light. God's hands are strong and mighty. He'll fight your battles. Fight your battles still. My God's hands are tender and gentle. He'll hold you up when you cannot stand. He'll give you peace you won't comprehend. Oh, God's hand is amazing. Wipe your weeping eyes. God's hand, so amazing. Only He can. Only He can. Oh, God's hand is amazing. Heal your body. Make you whole again. God's hand, so amazing. God can. Only He can. Oh, God's hand will give sight to the blind when this world of trouble starts to cloud your mind. God's hand will bring you to your knees when your lustful heart starts to intercede. He'll knock you down till you retreat. God's hand will soothe your soul when you have nothing left of which you can't hold. His hand will never change. You know you can trust in Him. He remains the same. And I'm covered by His love, 'cause I wear His name. No, God's hand is amazing. Wipe your weeping eyes. God's hand, so amazing. Only He can. Only He can. Oh, God's hand is amazing. Heal your body. Make you whole again. God's hand, so amazing. God can. Only He can.
God is so amazing, He will wipe away your tears. You can count on Him to erase your doubts and fears. My God, so powerful that He can save your soul. My God, He is alive. He'll never leave your side. On Him you can depend. He's got it all in His hands.
This is Terry Jackson, and you're listening to A Talk with My Sisters on What a Word from the Lord radio show.
You're listening to What a Word from the Lord radio show.
Lord, you know I need you. King Jesus, you know that I need you every day of my life. Oh, I need you. King Jesus, oh, I know you can make everything right. 'Cause even when I'm down and out, Lord, I can't. That's why I'm calling on you,
You're listening to What a Word from the Lord radio show.
You've been listening to What a Word from the Lord radio show, episode 228.
Your blessing to me, Lord.